How do you make an amazing business off of a YouTube channel? Well, we're going to go into that with Jeremy Knight, who is a broker with Real. We're going to talk about his story. So that's coming in just a second. But before that, I want to thank our sponsors at Capital Title and Blended Sense. They do an amazing job, and they're a great friend of the show. So right before we get started, we have an amazing season coming up. Like and subscribe, and you'll get notified when our next video comes out before we actually send it out. All right. Glad to have you here.
Yeah. Glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Well, I know you and I have, I think, talked and emailed in years past, but really got to know you at the Coda condo garages, right? Condos.
Yep.
Yeah, that was real cool. Thanks for that invite. It was cool to check that out, and I know you're heavily involved in that. But why don't we talk about, and we're going to get into YouTube stuff, which I'd love to, but let's talk about where you came from. We don't know each other that well, so this will be a good chance for me to figure out where you started at. I know you've got an amazing following on YouTube. You have a spectacular business, but how'd you get into real estate? What'd you do before?
Yeah, so actually my college job was working at Costco, and it actually paid so well, it didn't make sense to actually go get another job. I was making too much good money, but I was running their sales departments. I was running stuff. And I realized real quickly that my ceiling was limited at Costco, and that I had a bigger business mindset than most of the people that were there. And no knock on Costco, but they do a really good job of promoting people who don't have college degrees. And I was a college degree kid, thought, man, I need to do something different. So I looked across. I was already managing businesses for them and making them even more productive than they were. And they were promoting me because of it. But again, I knew I had a ceiling of what I was going to do. So I moved to Texas in 2012 and started real estate pretty much from thereafter. I got my broker's license in California, but didn't really sell in California.
Okay. Who'd you start with here?
I started with KW. I did the whole route most agents do. I was at KW for about 14, 15 months, started asking questions like, hey, I'm paying all these fees. Like, what's going on? Like, what else do I get? And they're like, oh, join the LLC. I'm like, well, I don't get paid for that. They're like, well, talk to more agents. I'm like, I don't get paid for that either. Like, what am I doing? So then I went to another brokerage, and then I was there for about 5 years, and I've been at Real here in Austin. I helped start Real in Austin. So I've been here about 5 years.
At Real for 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you're the first one, huh?
Yeah, I was the first one in Austin.
Yeah. So when did you get into creating videos?
Yeah, it was about 2018. I was doing Tom Ferry coaching at the time, and Tom Ferry is like YouTube. But what I find with a lot of coaching is they can tell you stuff, but they don't show you how to do it. And so I was trying to do YouTube for a couple of years and just doing it wrong. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. The reality is I got into it because I was spending so much money on ads, Zillow Flex, like all that crap. And it was great, but like I was putting myself out of business by paying for all this stuff. And I wanted to find an avenue that I didn't have to put ad money into, that would organically bring me business. And so that's why I started YouTube. In late 2019, I actually sat down with somebody and analyzed my channel, Christina Smallhorn. And I said, I got to make this thing productive. It's not really going anywhere. And she's like, well, you're not doing this, this, and this, and this. So
wait, is she like a YouTube coach or?
No, not really. I mean, she's just somebody that in like 2018, 19, there was a group of us that were me, Ken Posick, Wolfert out of out of Michigan, Paul Wolfert out of Michigan, a few of us who were like really Dan Parker. We were trying to figure out this YouTube thing. And so we were all kind of on the journey together. And Christina was one of those people that was really smart about what she was doing. And so she's like, you don't have an ideal, like, who's your ideal client out of this? Who's your ideal person? Who are you making content for? And so I realized I was making content the wrong way. So at the end of 2019, I literally changed all of my content to be consumer focused, because a lot of stuff I was making was like really aimed at realtors. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the content you see agents make on Instagram, TikTok, like, who is the audience for it? Is it really in consumer, or is it just another realtor to like and share, right? And so I really focused on who was my consumer, who did I want my consumer to be, who was the ideal client, who did I like to work with, and I literally started making content for them on YouTube. And when I made that shift in late 2019, drastically took off. Like within 3 months, I was getting leads, and that was before COVID hit. And then COVID hit, and then everybody was searching for Austin, and then my phone did not stop ringing for 2 years straight.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so do you have a process for how I did some YouTube coaching for a while, and he gave me some great processes. I think the problem with my channel is that it is geared towards real estate agents,
Yeah.
right? And that's on purpose.
Right.
And that audience is just way smaller, and it's fine, it's very, very useful for what I'm trying to do, which is grow my business. But and my business is getting agents, right?
Right.
So, but one thing that Owen Himsmith, Owen Video, do you know him?
Mm-mm.
He's a YouTube coach, really good friend of mine. But he came out with all of these different processes for from start to finish, and using like what does he use? Asana and or whatever, right? And so, do you have like a set process for that?
Yeah. So I break my content up into 4 buckets. And so I think this is where, if you're going to be doing content for real estate agents, what are 4 buckets of content that real estate agents are always going to come back to, right? And so for me, I looked at, I'm the end consumer. I do have a channel that's aimed at realtors, but it's very basic. I don't really do a whole lot with it other than put my live streams up there. But I have 4 buckets of content. I work a lot with new construction. So we have a new construction bucket. We have a growth of Austin bucket. So what's happening in Austin, because a lot of people want to know what's happening. We have a market update bucket. And then we have a buyer/seller bucket, right? And so basically those are what's happening for buyers and sellers. Where are they facing? Where are they going to move? If you're move up, where are you moving from? So that's focused. The new construction is, what are you getting with new construction? What pitfalls do you have with new construction? Avoid this for new construction. It's not even about builders. It's just about new construction itself. What's changing with new construction? What do you need to look out for? So a lot of it's just information based. And at the end of it, it's like, hey, look, if you find value in this, we give a lot more value to our actual clients. If you want to be one of those clients, here's a way to find us. And that's at the very, very end of the video.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So Owen has this thing, this acronym, GREAT, and have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
It's pretty good. It's the G is grab attention, right? Like I think at the beginning of this one, right in the intro, is like, are you interested in how, or let me say, grab attention.
Yep.
How one agent made it made a spectacular business doing YouTube. Relate to the audience, where you say something like, you can do this too using these methods, whatever. The E is for explain. And then the A is for ask, meaning ask the audience to like and subscribe or comment if you can relate to this, right? And then tell them what to do. And to tell them to do is like, our next video is this.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a great acronym. No, I heard it, but I mean, that's very similar to how all of our content starts off, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube long, or YouTube short. It's all attention grabbing title, then into the meat, what they need to know, and then what they can do moving forward, which is reach out to me. So.
Yeah. So tell me about the progression of like I'm sure at first it's like you with a camera, right? And then a better camera, and then a videographer. So what is that? How'd that go?
Yeah, I think, most agents stress about everything having to be beautiful from the they get so caught up in the process and everything looking amazing that they don't even create. Right? You got to create something to have something. The video that you put out is way better than the video you don't put out.
Yeah.
What good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, if you make a terrible video, at least you know where to go from there. And so I think that's the biggest problem most agents make, is they just don't even start. So, the reality is, start with your cell phone, get a couple good mics. I mean, you got little DJIs on here right now. I would grab those mics, make sure you're mic'd up, and just shoot with your camera. And
these are just, these are backup in case this doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean, these are perfect. I mean, these things in fact, my videographer just bought a new set of these. So, so, and that's things I started by myself, editing by myself, learning how to edit by myself. And it was okay for a while. It was okay. But then I realized, I got to sell homes, because now everybody's reaching out to me. So at that point, then I had to hire somebody to do the editing. And so it became a progression from there. Now a full-time videographer, a lot of times he'll run around and shoot stuff with me throughout the week. but and now we're moving into more generating podcasts for other people, like putting together actual podcasts.
Are you doing that yet, or is that with the studio?
That's the studio. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And so, well, before we get to that, but your videographer, is he with you like 5 days a week or what?
3 days a week.
3 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. And so on those days that you basically you have it planned out what you're going to shoot.
Yeah, so I batch my content. The YouTube channel is a little bit different from my long form. I don't like to batch that too far out, and batching just meaning I shoot a bunch of different content all at once and then, have weeks of content coming out. I don't like to batch that because things can happen and I want to be able to have more like relevant data, right? So if I do something today, a month from now, the video is going to be, it might not be the same data that's then. So,
right.
So that I try to shoot every two. So the reality is I shoot all my content on Tuesdays. We shoot short form content, long form content, short form content for my my second YouTube channel, which is the Agent Tactics. So we shoot it all on Tuesdays. And then if we have other like listing videos or something like that, then he's around for the listing videos. But I try to pack everything into Tuesdays.
Let's talk about the Coda Condos for a second.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, we've got a lot of real estate agents that watch this. Tell us about that project from your point of view.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting concept at first. I had a couple of clients that had high-end cars and were really into high-end cars. Myself, I drive a Porsche 911 4S that I actually track at Coda. And so as I was getting into cars, I realized that it was a cool project. And so they started so I went out there to do a video. This is how it started. Matt Holm was like, "Hey man, you should check out."
I know Matt real well. He's a good friend.
He is the greatest connector in the planet.
Yes.
So he's like, "Hey, you should see these condos." So I go out there and I'm like, you know what? We shot a video about it. And I was like, this would be a really good idea for us to buy one of the smaller condos and put so I have a place to go. So then I would have a place for other realtors to come and shoot content. And so I thought that would be a great idea, but they're building these car condos, which are basically a garage for cars. And then they have a mezzanine space. So you're not supposed to live out there, but you can have an office space out there. So as I started meeting some of the people, we're talking big time people are buying these 6,000 square foot units.
Yeah.
And they're putting literally their business in there.
Wow.
Paul Jean DeJoria is one of them. He's putting it as his entrepreneur stuff or his a philanthropy office right there.
Yeah.
You have a friend of mine who's got his whole, I don't want to say what he's into, but he's putting his stuff. There's people in Bitcoin, all this stuff. They're buying these car condos. And I thought, well, okay, this would be a really fun spot. We could shoot podcasts there. The times that they are available to go on track, I could interview people on the track, stuff like that. And so that's how I got into it. And it's turning into a really fun project. We've had really, really big podcasts so the idea of it too is if you have exotic cars or if you want to rent an exotic car and have that as something that you do in your podcast, literally have a piece of the podcast, you have that ability to have it there. Plus we'll build out 4 or 5 different looks. So whatever you want to do in there, you can do in the car condo itself, except for, the non, explicit stuff. We're not doing that at the car condo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We can do that here.
Yeah. Glass office.
And are they sold out?
No, they're still available. So they have quite a few. So I bought the smallest one and I'm kind of kicking myself. I should have bought a bigger one, but it is what it is. So they have, I think, 5 different sizes. The biggest size is 6,600 square foot. So it's 1,500 square feet of mezzanine. And then I think 4,000 square feet of car condo space. People are putting basketball gyms in there. This guy who's in crypto is putting a whole golf simulator. The entire wall is going to be Grand Theft Auto, mural. They're putting a bunch of F1 stuff in there.
Wow.
And so what's interesting about this project is it's not for just your Westlake guy that's got a car. This is for people around the U.S. that want to be at or have a car that they can park at a Formula One track, that they can drive on a Formula One track. Maybe they live in Houston. I mean, I've met some of the people. We got people from Chicago, Houston, Dallas, obviously here in Austin, Dubai. I mean, everywhere are buying the car condos. But yeah, they're still available.
So when it comes to optimizing your channel,
This
is something I was thinking about the other day. I think I put in some notes, but never got to that, Caleb. But it was, are you putting cards on your videos?
Yeah, the cards help. I usually would put those, like if I talk about a specific video that is relating to that video that I want people to watch next. So I'll throw in cards for that at the end. The end cards are probably the best way to do that.
Yeah.
So it tells them where to go to the end of the video. You know, a lot of people get stuck on the optimization. I think the best thing to do is just like at the end of the video, hey, if you really enjoyed this video right here is, you know, so lead into the next video or the video that it falls. That's why you do buckets, right?
Yeah.
So people that fall in those buckets only want to watch market update videos. They only want to watch all of the new projects coming to us, and they only want to watch about new construction. So they fall into a bucket. And so that's just pointing the next video in the bucket. I mean, the reality is the greatest piece of the YouTube channel is that when people watch short form content, they consume you in small bites.
Yeah.
If somebody wants more of you to figure out if they actually want to use your agent, they have to go to a small bite, small bite, small bite, small bite.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to a YouTube channel and you have somebody who has 300 hours of content, they can really get an idea if they want to use you or not. Now, they could be they don't want to use you, but the reality is, and this is what I tell everybody about YouTube and social media, you get to work with the people that want to work with you versus the people that are going to be a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
I've kicked away a lot of the pain in the ass people because now I only focus on, so maybe I'm not doing 200 million like I would want to do, 5 years ago, but do 100 million and not have to deal with the other 200, make really good money and then grow a team from it.
Yeah.
And focus on the people that like are going to recurringly give me business, the people I actually want to work with. Those are the people I'd rather do that.
Gotcha. I know that a lot of people in Real are like they were known as like the TikTok, Instagram company. Have you networked with them?
Yeah, I networked with a lot of those people. I mean, they've all been on. So I do every Thursday at 10 a.m. I do a live stream called Agent Tactics, and so I'll bring on a different guest. All the videos then get put onto YouTube from there. But yeah, I've interviewed a lot of them. I mean, you name one, and yes, they've been on, and yes, we've collaborated in different ways. I think that's the really cool part about just the brokerage in general is it really does push collaboration from really how the brokerage runs to how things get paid out. All of that is really built in that collaboration. And so those people will collaborate. And when normally, if I was at a different brokerage, maybe they wouldn't probably get to collaborate.
Right. And do you ever so we just, joined in January.
Yeah.
And, had to get through a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You know how it is.
Pain. Yeah. Moving's a pain.
Yeah. I mean, especially with 150 people. Right. And so I haven't had a chance. I'm checking a lot more of the features that Real has, but, what is it? Tell me what is it that you've checked out that you particularly like?
Well, so for me, when I looked at the model itself, I looked at what I was going to get with the Elite Award. Now, I was at the other 3-letter name brokerage, and they had what's called Icon, and Icon pays you, it was like $12,000 or $16,000 for just selling homes. You pay your cap, and then you pay a fee after that, and then you get stock back in the brokerage when you hit a specific number. Well, the Elite Award at Real was much higher. In fact, it was $24,000 back. So you pay the brokerage $12,000. Okay. And then you do roughly about 21 more deals, and you pay a $285 transaction fee. So you're all in with the brokerage is really around 18,000 total, but you get 24,000 in stock back into the brokerage.
Really? I didn't even know that.
I made my first $1 million off of the last company with that.
What do you mean?
I made $1 million off of just by getting the award. So I hit the Icon Award 5 times.
Wow.
And so I left $200,000 on the table. It was $168,000 to be exact on the table to come join Real. So I left a big chunk that I couldn't touch. But yeah, so every year you can get 24,000 back in stock. What I find value in that is 8,000. So it's 16,000. But 8,000 is tied to how much time you give back to the brokerage. So if you give back an hour every month to the brokerage, if you do, that's why I started the Agent Tactics.
Yeah.
So I could give back an hour to the agents. So if you're giving back to the brokerage, you're getting that $8,000, so 24,000 back in stock every year.
Yeah.
Every year. That's not just 1 year, every single year.
Yeah.
Right. And you have a cap of $12,000. And so if I'm a team owner, like it's great because all of those people that are on my team go towards paying that Elite Award for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's so funny. I went somewhere. I think I went to the Charleston Wailopo conference a few weeks ago, and I had set it up to talk with those guys, and I completely forgot because I mean, with that, like you can you can repurpose the content you're already doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I definitely need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about where you're at now with your business and where you want to go.
Yeah, I mean, we're in an interesting spot. I mean, I've done all this content. I started a new kind of angle on Instagram, which was more of a news. It's right up my alley, really, because that's really what I've focused on is just doing newsworthy content. So it's more of a newsworthy content style. I'm looking to pull back on my personal production
Mhm.
and grow a few more agents on the team and step back from production so that way I could focus on doing all the content because the content's what's driving all the clients
Yeah,
to work with us. And so doubling down on that, bringing on a few more agents just to manage the team.
and then giving them some of the leads you get from
Yeah. Right.
and the leads you get from YouTube are fucking solid, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just closed a $5 million deal
Wow.
with it. I've got another $10 million deal we're working on some land. So yeah, so it's not, I mean, look, we've worked with clients $150,000 range all the way up to about 5.5 million is the highest we've closed so far from YouTube.
Yeah, and how many agents do you want to grow to?
I want to stay under 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was in management for Costco for, 7 years.
Yeah.
And that drained every little piece of wanting to have a team out of me. And so like, I've been really reluctant to grow a team. The challenge is I can't create the content, can't create everything, plus have family life, work balance, plus, you know, fly around and that was the other thing is I was flying around the country every month doing real events. I was speaking on stage every week. And so that's another reason why I started the agent tactics channel is so I could just stay at home and actually just talk to people that way versus flying around the country.
Yeah. I can tell you when it comes to building a team, I've written in articles about this and have a lot of experience with it. So what my thought is that once you get over 10 and you're still in production in any form, right? That's where things start to get crazy, meaning it's hard for you to be two things, which is a mentor and a leader, and a top producing real estate agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I personally think this is an opinion, but I think 6 to 8 is probably the magic number.
Okay.
And then once you go over 10, then I think you got to start thinking about getting completely out of production.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to do that, you need to scale to like 50.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my career I literally sold a duplex and like, okay, I'm not going to sell a property for the next year and spent the whole year on recruitment.
Yeah.
And there's pros and cons to all that, but you really don't really start making real money. I mean, when I got to 50 agents and got out of production, I didn't really make that much money until I got to like 80, and it's just constant. There's pros and cons to everything, but I think a good top producing team is 6 to 8 agents.
Yeah, that's what's tough is like if you do the numbers off of just the production off of one agent, regardless of your split, you're probably not you're covering your costs.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're looking at it right now is going, okay, I still have to sell homes. I still have to be in production. I can't just hand off everything to one agent because I'm not necessarily making money.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the magic number based on the amount of leads, and then what else do I have to spend my money on in order to make money?
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, the hardest part. Whereas a lot of what I do is, so I mean, the magic piece with real brokers, we have a downline revenue.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing agents onto the brokerage, your frontline agents, if they're a whole agent, you're looking at $4,000 per frontline agent, 32, 28, 16, and 800, right down the line.
Yeah.
So what we've been, and this is where why I didn't grow a team is I was focusing on helping agents get producing. I mean, we're at 5,200 agents in our network.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we have one of the larger networks. And so what I spend a lot of time doing, that's another reason why I do the agent tactics is just to what I've learned and what other agents learn, give it back to our agents so they can be more productive. And so that's why I haven't been focused on the team. In fact, I slowed down my production last year a lot. This is our best year production wise.
Yeah.
Because I started growing the team again.
Yeah.
So, and then, I spent a lot of time helping agents doing the agent stuff, and that's what's flying around the country is trying to bring value to agents and help them grow a YouTube channel, help them, if they were at Real, definitely try to help them more. So
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do in a sense of like how can we support people that might be maybe not that maybe aren't at Spyglass Realty but are wanting to have us as sponsors. And when I think of sponsors, I think of more of a mentorship,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So we created Realty Hack Academy. Not we actually created this long before we even joined the Real.
yeah. I've seen Realty Hack a long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but we haven't really launched this yet. But we have over 100 hours on Kajabi right now.
Oh wow.
So we were going to try to offer that to people that might be interested, and we're going to start. Johnny, my sales director, does 3 2-hour trainings every single 3 times a month.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to live stream that into like a Facebook group and
Yeah.
just be able to have. And when it comes, one thing I really did like about Real is they're not very. They handle recruitment with class,
Right. Yeah.
and they've got laws of attraction. And it's not like you're, going to get a bunch of.
Yeah. I mean, here's a huge difference of what I experienced at my previous brokerage versus now. When I would call people, it would be at the old place. It was, oh, I don't want to join your brokerage. I'm like, no, I'm asking about the $1.2 million house you have listed
Yeah.
Banana Street, and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas now it's, hey, it's Jeremy with Real Broker. I'm calling about your listing on whatever. Oh, hey, Jeremy, how are you doing? Oh, by the way, if you don't mind, can you explain to me this Real Broker thing? I get more agents when I'm just calling listings.
Yeah.
Ask me questions about the brokerage because it is different. It is that people people don't want to have to go to an office all the time. An office is a great space. If you have an office, it's definitely a great added plus for agents, but not everybody wants to go to an office.
Sure.
And so if you're not wanting to be in an office and you don't need your handheld and you don't want to spend a ton of money on fees, but you want all the back end support, you want, stuff. So it's a wonderful place. So the other brokerage, definitely a good place to look at. I'm not throwing shade at them whatsoever.
Yeah.
They've built a great model, but I think there's a better respect that's been built because of how we've done some things.
Totally. And that's what really aligned with me. And then like the way I looked at it is if people, because we're essentially a team within a brokerage, right? Whereas like we can do what we've always been doing, which is actually doing the training and giving the leads and what I would consider world-class support, but they can also get the backline, systems that Real has. And if they leave Spyglass Realty, they can go to Real and maintain their stock and rev share and all 100%. That. So that was really the main thing. I did not join Real because I wanted rev share. Now, I do want it in a more organic way, but I did it as I'm not even kidding you, as so that I could have, so Spyglass Realty agents could take advantage of things that like, the stock, the commission advancements, the, and that so that we have like, I don't know, several teams with us. And I know part of the problem with teams anywhere, if you have a team, if you have a team, you're going to have turnover and they're going to leave your team. Well, if you have a good enough backing, like Spyglass Realty has a good enough backing with Real, where if someone leaves Spyglass Realty and they go to Real, same thing with the teams too. Yeah. They can leave they can leave a team within us and go to Real, and you still get the support.
Yep.
And then the other thing I liked about it, and it's so funny, I didn't even mean to get into this, right? It's just we're just talking here, but was the co-sponsorship.
Yeah.
Meaning that, if I have somebody that, I know that wants to go to your brokerage, like, I recruit somebody that well, if you're looking at anybody else, I don't really want to do what you're doing, or someone in Florida. I actually have a friend of mine as an agent was looking in not Florida. Well, she was looking in New York, and I have an agent at Real New York. And if that works out, we can co-sponsor. She wants to work here and in New York.
Yeah.
So that would be the co-sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, again, the biggest thing Real did is they said, how can we make the agent experience better? And this is like when I was leaving the old place, leaving $168,000 on the table at the time. I was like, hey, I want to make sure that the focus, because one of the reasons why I had left the old place is that the focus left from being about the agents to be how many agents can you put on your downline? I wanted to sell homes. I could care less about that. Right. And so that really frustrated me. And so when I looked at Real, I was like, look, what can you do? What can you tell me that is going to make sure that we're not going to have those same issues with attraction or recruiting, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Two, you're saying this is about the agent. You're making this for the agent. Show me how you're going to continue to do that.
Yeah.
And it literally like, well, it's built in the model. Like, look, it's in the model itself.
Yeah.
And then three, when we're doing attraction, how can we make sure that attraction is done best for the agent? And one of the things that they had said was like, well, this is where the model is going to be. We're going to slightly change it in the future, but it's going to be better for the agents. And look, I have agents co-sponsored all over the place.
Yeah.
And, I have agents in California co-sponsored. I got agents in Texas, different markets co-sponsored. So I think the co-sponsorship's great is because a lot of agents come to me like, I want to learn about YouTube. I want to learn about this. I want the support that I can get with Spyglass or wherever, but I'm in a market that doesn't have that. And I want to build it here, but I don't know how. So can you plug me in with somebody here locally that we can build this culture better? And I think that's like when people look, as agents, sometimes we look at things a little short-sighted. And this is where when I looked at Real, I was like, oh, I'm looking at the long picture here. So when agents are like, there's not a lot of support here in this local market for Real, there's not as many people here. I go, that's awesome because you get to be a part of building it. And when you build it, you get the fruits of your labor. I mean, we're at 5,200 agents nationwide just because I was helping agents all over the country do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and honestly, that's one of the reasons why we picked. Well, there's so many reasons, but one of it was, like, I know San Antonio Real has major market presence there. Well, I think we came close to, when we joined Real here, we came close to doubling the agent count here for Real.
Yeah.
And we saw that as an opportunity
For sure.
And also, even though it took time. Not that much time. It's only May, but like getting to know, you and your network. And so anyway, that's we went on like a tangent on that stuff. It wasn't intentional.
That's the problem. Anytime you bring up Real to a Real person, they're super excited.
Yeah.
They're going to continue to talk about it. I mean, the agent count in Austin's pretty interesting too, because we've been working on growing. Austin's just such a weird place to grow a team or have agents.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen it. We've done a really good job growing the agent count here in Austin for the last 5 years. And then having you come is like even better for us. And so I'm excited you're here. I'm excited to do some more stuff with you.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to be on your thing 2 weeks from now,
2
right?
weeks, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, where can people find you?
Instagram at The Real Jeremy Knight. It's the best place to find me.
Awesome. And if you've made it this far in the video, I am going to point to this video here, which I'm hoping you spurred me on a good idea. I'm going to call Matt Holm. He'll see if he wants to be on the program. So hopefully he'll be right here.
Matt Holm. Good get. Yes, yeah.
All right. Thanks.
No problem.